Danrie from Craftofgiving and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to share a really fun DIY fairy house idea. To make your very own fairy house on a stone, you need to find yourself a stone. Now I bought mine at a local discount shop, but I'm sure you can find them online or even at any good craft shops. I started by removing any dust, dirt or oils from my stone using a wet baby wipe or a cleaning wipe. I then went ahead and rolled out some grey polymer clay into a ball and then into a elongated tear shape, almost, by just rolling it out on one side with my finger to create like a pointier edge and then cut it down to size. Now being a fairy house, it is whimsical, it's magical. You can create yours to look any way you like. This is just how I did it. Be creative, be spontaneous, be magical, it's up to you. I just went ahead and placed it on top of my stone to sort of see where I want it and how big I wanted it to be. To create the roof of our fairy house, I rolled out a small ball of clay, cutting a small slit to the side of the circle to create a little cone shape. Now I wanted to have like a little bit of a fantasy magical mushroom type look for our little fairy house, making sure that all creases are smoothed out. And for an extra point of interest, I just twisted the top of my pointy bit here on my roof just to create a bit more of a whimsical fantasy look. As all little houses need a little door, I used two colors of brown and rolled them together to create a marbled look. I rolled it into a snake and then flattened it out to create my little door. Using the base of a piping tip, I just cut the little door out so that it had a nice little rounded archway on the top of our door. And there you can see it. Now, if you do make your own, you can of course make your door to look any way you would like. A teeny tiny door for a teeny tiny house. Go ahead and add it onto your fairy house, and to create a little bit more interest I use my palette knife to create some lines in the door so it looks like wooden panels, like a nice solid wooden door for a teeny tiny fairy house. Using a nail dotting tool, I just added a little doorknob by creating a little round circle for where the doorknob is, just for a little bit more interest and detail. Then it's the fun part of decorating our stone and our little scene for our fairy house. So I placed my house on top of the rock. I decided where I wanted it to be, sitting more sort of towards the top, flatter edge of my stone. The first details I wanted to add were these little adorable stepping stones or pavers using a little snake of like a, I want to say a maroon colored clay, and then just pressing it onto my stone all the way down so it creates like a little walking track for our fairies. To add some more decorations, I decided to add a small little veggie garden for our fairy house, and I used a decorative sand that I found at my local Spotlight, but you can find this online or any good craft shops, and mixed it with a little bit of UV resin in a small little silicone bowl. Using a toothpick or a skewer, I just mixed that thoroughly and then added it to my stone where I would like my little veggie patch to be. If you don't have UV resin, feel free to use like a super glue or a E6000 glue that will really hold the sand together. I use my palette knife to create like little tracks in my veggie patch where you plant your seeds and obviously the vegetables grow. Now being UV resin, you need to use a UV light to set this resin to make it go nice and hard. So I just held my UV lamp over the UV resin and sand for a couple of minutes until it has solidified and set. Now the fun part of adding little vegetables. So I rolled out the teeniest, tiniest little balls of orange clay for my carrots, and then went ahead and rolled out even more tiny little snakes of a green polymer clay and squished them together to create like the bushy green parts on top of the carrot that sticks out of the ground. I thought these turned out so freaking cute because any fairy would love to have some vegetables, right? I went back to my little pavers and added some lines just for extra point of interest, and I thought, okay, in my veggie garden you need to have a basket where you can put all your veggies once you harvest it. So I used a small ball of brown clay and created a little basket slash bucket and glued it down with a little bit of Bond and Bake polymer clay. So this is a Sculpey brand, and you can find this at any good craft shop as well, just to secure my clay to the stone while I'm going to bake it. To add a pop of color, I decided to add teeny tiny little tomatoes by rolling little balls of red clay for our tomatoes that we will put inside of our little veggie basket, because why not? It's so cute. I went ahead and added a little bit more Bond and Bake as my glue to hold my tomatoes in my basket and place them in there. I felt like my tomatoes needed a little bit more of something special on top, so I did go ahead and create like the little trusts of, or is that what you call it? The little tops, the green bits of your tomato by adding a little bit of green leaves as well. To complete our veggie garden, I decided to add some little cucumbers or zucchinis to our little veggie patch as well by rolling out teeny tiny little balls of green clay that I elongated to create my little snakes of cucumbers. To add just a little bit more detail, I rolled out some more lime green clay in a really long thin little snake to create like a coil of the vine for our little cucumbers or zucchinis, whichever one you wish, just to make it super cute. And oh, why not, because detail is awesome. Once you're happy with your design and you feel like you don't want to add anything else, go ahead and preheat your oven to your polymer clay's manufacturer's instructions and bake your little stone scene with your fairy house for the recommended amount of time and allow it to cool down completely. To complete our fairy garden and house scene on our little rock, I went ahead and added this fake little greenery that I've also found at my local spotlight as a little bush around the house. Now I used UV resin to attach my little bushy bits to my stone, but in hindsight I did use just super glue as well at the end anyway, so super glue or even hot glue would have worked just fine, so you don't need to use your UV resin to add things to stones. But there you go, there's my little completed fairy house on top of a stone, completed with a veggie garden and all. If you like this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what kind of fairy house you would make and what details you would include. I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you find something that you enjoy on my channel. If you'd like to subscribe, I make videos on handmade gifts and other fun DIY projects. Remember to be crafty with your giving, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!